This one happens to have to do with what's going on right now in the Middle East. More than 100 Palestinian protesters fought with Israeli forces north of the Palestinian capital of Ramallah today. Clashes began when Israeli forces surrounded Ramallah after 2 Israeli soldiers were reportedly hit during a drive-by shooting. Most of the inflamed area this week is surprisingly not Gaza, but rather Lebanon, north. We have been reporting to you exclusively this week about developments there that could soon escalate. In fact, we're seeing the signs of it. Israeli defense forces are continuing an operation against tunnels leading into the country from southern Lebanon. And yesterday, the Israeli ambassador went to the United Nations Security Council to ask them to convene a session regarding Lebanon. But this may be leading up to something that goes much further. Listen to what we reported here yesterday exclusively.
Informed that the Israeli government is informing officials, I won't say from, to where, but that there is an intention by Israel to attack.
You can't share with us who the sources are, I understand. No. Okay, we respect that. Is this somebody who represents a major government?
Yes.
Somebody who Israel then turned to and said, we need to let you know that we might be doing this.
Yes, there will be a day. They told this government that, that this will be occurring.
John Jordan is a former naval officer who is also the editor of Warship. John, thanks so much for being with us, as usual. Are you taken aback, as I was, by the statement from Michael Maloof yesterday, saying that Israel is telling people it might be getting ready to act in Lebanon?
Yeah, your reporting is outstanding on this. There's a couple of things to know. There's different parties involved here, and they all have different interests. Prime Minister Netanyahu is running for re-election, is in political trouble in a year, and this is important for him politically to be seen as being tough here. Now, what's not really reported is inside of Lebanon, President Aoun, who is really a Hezbollah supporter, is really trying to distance himself from this because he's trying to put together a national unity government. And to draw attention to this will only invite sanctions and all kinds of other problems for him as he attempts to do that. Hezbollah wants to make trouble in Israel. They're riding high after their involvement and their ensuing popularity because of Syria inside of Lebanon. And the Iranians, this is part of a broader game that the Iranians are playing in the region. So this could very well escalate, but the Lebanese government really doesn't want it to.
You know, given the fact that Netanyahu and the Israelis are having a major headache right now in different parts of Gaza with Hamas, can they really afford to create this kind of environment, especially with a more powerful foe than Hamas, which is Hezbollah? Am I correct?
Yes, but you could also argue, Rick, that this helps them politically because, remember, Prime Minister Netanyahu took a lot of fire because of the restraint the Israeli forces showed with regard to Hamas. He may need to be tougher here. And more to the point, this is basically a proxy war with Iran, and that only may add to the political pressure on him to do so.
But you understand global positioning, right? So let's talk about this from a geopolitical standpoint. If indeed this were to happen and they become the aggressors, and we have a Part 2 Israel-Lebanon war following up from the one in 2006. But this time, we have all those people from the border with Syria jumping that border and joining with Hezbollah. And we have an action, let's say, by Iran directly, which would then conflagrate the situation by having the United States have to get involved. This would be a whole different can of worms than what we had in 2006, correct?
Absolutely, Rick. That's why the risks here are so much higher, especially with Iran experiencing enormous economic dislocations and domestic discord at home. Iran may feel compelled just to stir up national sentiment to preserve the status quo in Iran, feel compelled to do this. That's a time-honored tactic of dictatorships everywhere. Get involved in a foreign war to prop yourself up at home. And that just points out exactly how much of a tinderbox this region is right now.
One final question. The fact that the Israelis are going around and tipping people off that they might have to do this, what does that usually mean? What does that usually say about the possibility of this?
Well, it depends. If these are official leaks sanctioned by the Israeli government, it may actually be a good sign, because it may be a signal by Israel that they're willing to take it to another level, but and they want the leverage that comes with that. But when you're really about to attack, you try not to tip off the other side too much. So that may actually be a hopeful sign.
That's interesting. That's very Machiavellian of you, by the way, if I couldn't get that word out. Thank you, John Jordan, for being our guest and taking us through this interesting conversation.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.